Hi everyone. So, welcome to 15 Days of SQL with me. First of all, thank you all for joining and patiently waiting here all this time. Congratulations for embarking with me on this journey. I hope the next 15 days would be knowledge packed and very valuable for you in your data analysis or data science career. SQL is one thing which you just can't ignore. It is one thing which is present in all of the industries, all of the spaces, all of the job profiles. And that's why it makes it one of the most highly valuable skill in the job market right now, especially in the tech side. Having SQL in your tool belt or in your skill set enhances the chances of you getting hired or you starting an agency, because SQL is something which helps you fetch data, fetch relational database data, and then perform analysis on it, all of it together, no matter how big the data is. Because for some organizations, the data scales thousands of billions of GBs, and that is something you cannot handle in tools like Excel, and hence SQL and its version like Postgres, Oracle, MySQL, MS are very popular and are something which have been here for quite some time, quite a long time actually, and are predicted to be in the market, be highly valuable in the market for a long time. So now we'll start, and for those of you who are just here for the first time, hi, I am Akshuti. I am an AI engineer, and when I'm not working, I come here on Twitter and Medium and share whatever I have learned, so I can help the people who are joining just now to not repeat the mistakes which I did. And now I'm starting here on Twitter, so thank you for joining in. If you have not joined the 15 Days of SQL challenge yet, I have put the link in the chat, and you can go ahead, follow the tweet thread, and it says all you need is a free forever ClickUp account. If you already have one, well and fine. Otherwise, it just takes 2 clicks to create one. You can go ahead and create it. Then come back to this tweet and click on this link. This link will take you to a page something like this. And all you have to do then is select a space. Say I just selected a default space, and then click on use template. So the second I use template, it will redirect me to a screen where it will show me all of the tasks or all of the resource bundles for each of the 15 days. So as promised, each of the 15 days will have 3 components in the resource bundle. One would be the tutorial. It will be a mode tutorial. Mode Analytics is a very great platform, very free and useful platform to experience and experiment with different databases, queries, and practice on your own all of the SQL knowledge that it provides out there for free in a very tangible, understandable way. Next, after that, you will have a blog which is written by me on my Medium account. The link would be linked. And then a live session just like this one. We'll have each day at the same time for 30 minutes, so we can quickly practice or clear some doubts in the live sessions. Otherwise, I'll just teach you whatever the topics. The course is designed in such a way that each day contains a very limited amount of topic. So it is compartmentalized in such a way that each day it doesn't feel like you're learning too much, or if it's getting too much, you don't get overwhelmed by the journey. But you also get a sense of satisfaction that, okay, you are somewhere ahead in your journey and you're practicing something, you're gaining more knowledge. So every day is very easily manageable, tangible set of skills which will help you in your SQL journey, and you'll be moving ahead. So once you go here, you can go to the board view, or the list view is fine as well. Once you go to the board, you will have 2 sections to it, to do, which will have all of the 15-day cards, and then a complete section. So as you move ahead, you can just drag your cards and move them here. Now, there are deadlines to each task. That is, for each day in this journey, we'll have a set of things we need to complete, and then they'll be moved to the complete section. So what will each day have is, when you click on that task card, it will share you a link. See, tutorial, a list of tutorials, very manageable short tutorials, a blog which I have written, and then a link to a live video session every day. This is what we'd be doing, and I hope that I tweeted it, I think 10 hours ago, so you're done with these. If you're not, I will walk you through them, and this is the last part of the task. We are in it right now, so thank you all for joining once again, and let's get started with SQL and its intricacies. Oh wow, we have a lot of people. Okay, let's go ahead then. So the first part of this is going to your mode tutorial. So once you click on it, you will see a lot of things like SQL select statement. Once you click on it, you will automatically be redirected to a tutorial screen. So it is distraction less, no nonsense, just an optimistic way of learning SQL daily. And you'll see the tutorial, you can practice it. The live playground is available as well with practice problems attached to each tutorial. Now my part of the thing is writing the blog and doing this live session, which I'll be doing now. So let's start. So this is your introduction to SQL. For people who have been familiar with SQL, I think this part might be something which is, cliche for you, but it is very important for someone to know about, especially if SQL is something they are learning for the first time. They have not been through it. So what is SQL first of all? The full form of SQL, SQL, people have different ways of pronouncing it. I like to pronounce it as SQL. You can comment down your pronunciation if you think I am doing it wrong. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and it is kind of a programming language, but it is designed not to do things with the interface or web development, app development, machine learning, not that sort of programming, but the programming which is related just for managing, extracting and manipulating data out of a relational database. So you write an SQL statement. So this is the language of SQL it uses, and you write a few statements and you shoot it down an RDBMS server. Now what is an RDBMS server? RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. Now we know about what data is, but data on its own is useless. You cannot do anything out of raw data. So data first needs to be managed somewhere and stored. So that is where we use database management system. Next, because there are a lot of variables, constraints whenever we are trying to get data, so we find a better, more understandable and manageable way of storing data is to store things which are closely related to each other in one table, and then make the relations with these tables all together. So for example, I am considering a school database, okay? So would it be tangible or advisable that I store everything? So what are the students' scores, what are the classes they are taking, what are their teachers, what is the teacher's salary, what department are they are, what is their tenure? I don't think it will make sense to store all of it in one table, and I don't think we'll be able to map out the relations pretty well. However, if we just have one table called student, and that table has all their scores, their subjects, and the teacher for each subject, and then with that teacher we can map to another table which has all of the information available for that teacher, like for how long have they been in the school, what is their salary, what is the department they belong to. So that's how a relational database management system is organized. Several tables which have something in common, some relation between them, are organized together such that they can be manipulated in such a way that the insights which we get are decluttered and understandable. To make use of such relational database management systems, we use SQL. Once you shoot the query to an RDBMS server, it will return you the data which it fetches from it. So if I said I want the region names from a certain table called region, it will give me all of the region names present in that table. Okay. The next thing, why SQL? I mean, why do we need SQL at all? So if you'll see me tweeting about this line a lot of times, that SQL is the meat and potatoes of data analysis. You cannot go around without SQL. Meat and potatoes, just like you can't have pretty much a lot of dishes without introducing meat and potatoes. So that's the analogy of SQL in the data world. Be it data scientists, data engineers, data analysts, everyone is using SQL every day. So please don't sit on SQL. The next thing, SQL is very easily helpful to access, clean, and analyze data, because once you have like 100 billion rows, you cannot go about and check on them on Excel or scroll down and check what they want on Excel. You cannot do that. So you need a way that can help you access them and then analyze it further from a huge collection of databases. Next thing which I love about SQL is that unlike other programming languages which have their jargons, SQL is basically you writing English. So for all of the English speakers out here, SQL is going to be a fun, easy ride. Just walk along. And next is you can access large amounts of data. Huge amounts of data are operated on SQL and SQL alone. So SQL's scalability of handling huge data is beyond your and my capacity. Okay, you don't have to copy data from one application to another. SQL is one for all solution for you. So other spreadsheet tools, they will show you the data, they'll help you with the data. However, SQL is very easy. So once I created some code, okay, and you need that. So I need not send you the entire Excel sheet and then what to do with it, what are all the steps. No, I can just send you the code, you can run it on your server and we'll both be happy. So it's very easy to audit, go back and see where you went wrong and then replicate the process. So SQL, in short, is the thing you need if you're getting into data. Next, what are the advantages? So views. So for example, that I don't trust you a lot, or maybe I do trust you, but I feel that you might mess up with my database. So what I'll do is I'll give you a certain view of the data, which will let you play around the data as much as you want, but it won't edit the database in general. Okay. The next thing, portable. Of course, if I can just copy a few lines and give it to you, you can run it across the world. Of course, it is very portable. The next is interactive language. Again, now that we are using English, so it will have an easy syntax. We are using English terms and not difficult tech jargon, so it will be very easy to learn. These are all of the advantages of SQL. Next, let's start with learning SQL now. So something which you won't be able to run from here is this keyword right here called select. So select indicates that which are columns you'd like to view. And then there's a second part to the query, which is from. So you know how I'll say, I'll select 2 tweets from my Twitter profile. So select, and it is followed by certain column names which you'd want to view. From where? So from the table name I'd want to view. Simple, straight English, right? Let's practice it now. For those of you who have not yet went through the tutorial, we would, I'd say go to the site, Mode Analytics, and try their first practice problem. Okay, so what it says is, we have a table and we need to select some columns from it. In this case, it is year, month, and something called West from the table called US housing units from the database tutorial. Let's try it out ourselves. So go to this practice problem. If you are not yet following it, I'll share the link to the tutorial. And the practice problem is where you need to go. I have added the link in the live chat. So this is not a theory lecture. I wouldn't want you to just blindly look at the video. I would want you to practice it side by side. So please open your screens and start practicing right away. Okay. Next thing. Yes. So now that I have my report ready, the practice problem says that write a query to select all of the columns in the tutorial.us housing units table. Okay, so first I will say what do I want to do. So the basic rule here is select anything you want to view, you want SQL to return, you would have to specify it under select. The select statement is all you need, everything you'll ever need. Good enough? So if everyone has their workspace ready, let's start practicing SQL. So select is something, and I can write some table names, column names I want to. Say I want from accounts, or who likes Animal Crossing here? I like Animal Crossing, so we'll start with Animal Crossing. Okay, so when you click here, you'll see what are all of the names present, and say I want the table name, the column, sorry, I want the column name and I want the column category. Okay, so generally all of your SQL queries would be in a similar format where you write select, the keyword select, followed by a list of comma separated column names. So I can write as many column names I want from this: color, then buy, sell. It is up to me. Whatever I want, I can write here. And then the next part of the query would be, which is again mandatory to everything you write, is the from statement. So now you can select everything you want, but then how would SQL know that where to select it from? For that, you need to specify what is the table name. And if the table is under a database itself, you need to first specify the database name. So here the database is tutorial. Okay, so I write tutorial. Then to refer the table name out of the tutorial database, I will use a dot or a period, and then I'll say Animal Crossing art. So if I choose from the drop down, okay, no problem. Crossing art. Cool. So once I'm done writing select and then all of the column names I want to print, then next I want from and all of the database, followed by a period, followed by the table name which I want to fetch the columns from. If I'm done with the query, I'll press run. Let's see if it runs or not. If it won't run, it'll return an error like any programming language. And see, it returns something, and it returns, if you see, in the exact order that I mentioned the columns to be. If you check the table here, name was somewhere, category was somewhere, buy, sell, then color appeared. However, when I wrote it in an order that name came first, category came second, color one was first, third, buy was fourth, and sell was the last one. So the columns here, if you look at how SQL formatted it, the columns were formatted in the exact order that you wrote them in the select clause. So select name, category, color one, buy and sell. This is one way to select or handpick the columns in case, there are a lot of times we don't want to see the entire table. However, we do want to see a few columns out of it. So we would specify the columns names as a comma separated list, and we'd get those specific column names, and if whatever analysis we want to perform on it, we can do that later. The next part, for example, this table itself has more than 15 columns. So what if I want all of those columns? Would it be advisable if I, went and checked what are the column names for each of them and then copy them here and write it that A, B, C, D for, and so on and so forth for all of the 15 columns? I don't think that'll be very time consuming and very strenuous, and you being a data analyst, you don't want to spend your time doing copy pasting stuff. Although you'd be spending a lot of time doing that, Googling, but at least we don't want to copy the column names. In order to do that, we'd be using the star operator. So what star does is, it says all. So star here is the equivalent of all. Every time in any place you specify a star, except for when it is between two numbers. If it is between two numbers, it will be treated as a multiplication sign. However, all of the other ways in SQL, that will be treated as all. So everything that will be present within that scope that the query is specifying would be considered wherever the star is used. So now when I run the query, you'll see that now there are 26 columns printed. It's a small part of my screen. I'll zoom in. See, 26 columns are printed right now. Earlier, when we were handpicking the columns, we specified the name of 5 columns, and all 5 of them were printed in the exact order which was specified by us in the query. However, here all of the columns were printed, and they were printed in such a way that the order remains the one specified by the table structure or the schema architecture. So name follows genuine, category, by, cell, and it is in the same order as specified by the table schema, the schema details. So star does not give you the power of choosing the columns you would want to see. However, it helps you cut through a lot of clutter while writing through your query and just give it the necessary stuff in case you want all of the table content to be printed. So this is everything. Is everything clear till now? I hope it is. Then we'll move ahead to another interesting concept in SQL, which is the limit clause. So many times in life you would have encountered that nobody wants to know what are the top 200, top 500 people. Nobody, literally no one is interested in doing that. We're always interested in the top 5, top 10, however top 3 most of the times in competitions, sports competitions. We just want the people, limited amount of people. The same case is here with SQL queries. Most of the times we don't want to go through all of the rows or the entire result that a query returns. We want to limit our search to certain numbers, certain count. For example, if I say that I have this database which has all of my orders or all of the purchases that have happened through my account in the recent times, and I want to know that which are the top things which I'm spending my money on. So you will perform the analysis and you will only give me 3 to 4 items, because that will make sense. If you give me 10 of the things, then I don't think that analysis will make any value or any sense in my eyes, in my perspective at least. So if you want to know just a few things and not the entire query, we write another clause in the next line called the limit clause. So see, again, it is very plain English, the terms which you are familiar with, which you have been using. Limit, and then followed by limit you have a number. The number would be how many queries you want. So just keep an eye here. You are saying, it says showing rows 1 to 70 of 70, right? Keep an eye on this thing, and when I say limit and followed by a number, which is the number of queries I want, number of rows I want. So I'll say 5, and then when I run it, let's see what happens. And now see what happened. Showing rows 1 to 5 of 5. And what was 5? This magic number was nothing but the number which we specified here after the limit clause. So what SQL did here is it selected all of the columns from the table Animal Crossing art, and then after that, after selecting everything, it came across this line called limit 5. So the user or the data analyst gave it a limit that, okay, I don't want all of your rows, I just want you to limit the result to 5. So it gave you the top 5 rows starting from however it was organized before in the table, and it limited the search to just 5. I can change it to 2. It will give me just 2 rows now. This is a great way and it is very much used because, one, oftentimes your query has tons of data, and if you run just select star and from your table name, it might take hours for it to process. So if your main purpose is just to get an idea of what all the columns are and what all values they hold, what is the type of value they hold, limit is a very frequently used and a very helpful clause which helps you limit, first of all, the scope of your query. Second, it makes the query run very fast because now the query does not have to go through billions of rows, but just 2, 5, 10, like the number you've specified. That's about limit. So today, for revising, I'll say we have learnt about 3 things. That is, what is SQL, why is it used, and then we have come to creating our playground where we'll be live practicing what SQL queries are and how can we run them on real data sets. Because again, anything in tech, or I feel anything in life, shouldn't be just a theory lecture. You should be implementing and experimenting to your own. Maybe I wrote something which is just very mediocre for you, and you want to go ahead, go further and experiment more. So you should be having a playground ready with you that you are playing with alongside this. So, and in the query side, we learned about 3 very important clauses, which is select. Select is used to pick the columns which we want as a result of our query. It can have a comma separated list of columns, like I have written the syntax here, column name 1, column name 2, column name 3, separated by a comma. The next part of any SQL query would be from. So from specifies where do we need this data, which we have said that I want all of this columns from something, but where is that something? So we'll specify our database specifications, where the data is located. If we want just one single table, or we want the data to be fetched from multiple tables, or we want to perform some sort of operations on those tables first and then get the data. So from specifies where the data is stored at. Select wants you to say what is the data you want. Next clause here was limit. So limit is used to first fasten the time taken by a query to run, and then limit your scope, or to get only the relevant results and not the minority results present later. This was all about it. In the next session, what we'll be doing, again same time tomorrow, is we'd learn that, okay, here we can limit the number of rows, we can limit the number of columns. However, if I want rows and I want those columns, but I need to manipulate the values within them. Say here I have some academic painting and whether it is genuine or not. So now I say that, hey, I only want the genuine things. So what I'll say is I'll use another clause which will come just after from, before limit. Anything you have to do it before limit, because what limit does is it automatically cuts short the query to the number specified here, and then returning your result or filtering your result further would not lead to the things you want. So please put your where clause before limit always. Next, what where does is it helps you filter out the rows through certain conditions, and those conditions are made up of operators which we'll be learning about tomorrow. Just for an example, a preview of what we'll be doing is, for example, I say I want only the products which are genuine. So the Animal Crossing art, it has a genuine column and there is a value called yes here. So I'll say I want yes, and I don't want a limit, I just want all of the things which are, all of the art which is genuine. So now see, it takes a little longer for it to run the query. However, now when you look at the results, you'll see only and only the things which have just yes in the genuine column. So only the genuine art is listed now. So where is a way to filter out the results on the basis of what value they hold, and it is very frequently used. Like almost every query you write will have a where clause, because we don't want to operate on everything. Our scope is not everything. There's a particular subset which we want to handle as a result of this query, and where helps us. Where is very important. Make sure you attend the next live to make your concepts clear regarding this, because you are not going anywhere without where, at least in SQL. Here, where was used to filter out just the genuine art. So I said genuine equal to yes. What is this equal to? Why was this yes here? We'll find out in the next session. But it returned what we wanted it to. It returned all of the things which have yes as a result, as a value in the genuine column. So that's everything regarding today. And if you want more of such content, you can subscribe to my channel and go to my Twitter. And if you want more of SQL content, I post a lot on there. I'm just getting started on YouTube, but I have been on Twitter for quite some time. Join this SQL challenge. It will be very helpful, very valuable for you. The link is again in the chat box. I'll add it to the description as well. Join this SQL query, learn every day with me, and enhance your skill set. Thank you for joining today. Have a great time. Bye.